Welcome to MODEX 2026. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia with Sharu at the Rapyuta booth, sitting right on top of their very own ASRS. Sharu, you want to say hey?
Hi guys, I bet you don't see this often, sitting on top of an ASRS.
No, this is wild. We have the robots driving all around us while we're doing this interview. So first things first, Sharu, can you tell these folks how it's possible that we're sitting right on top of this ASRS platform, and it's like, what, five stories deep? We're sitting on the first one. How is it possible that we're able to sit on this floor, which is made out of plastic?
Plastic?
Yep. What is it? Tell the truth.
Basically, the plastic, we have a special kind of plastic. It's glass fiber reinforced polycarbonate plastic. It's designed to be flame retardant, but also extremely strong. As you can see, we have two grown men sitting on top of plastic tiles. The best way, honestly, to explain it is it's like Lego. So we have basically 4 pieces. We have the tile itself, the poles, we have the bots, and then we have the elevators. And that's it for the entire ASRS system. So it's extremely simple and just boils down to those 4 parts.
Yeah. Bots, poles, tiles, and elevators.
Exactly.
That's it, and the charging station.
And the charging station.
Yes,
yes,
5.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, as you see here, these are the poles, these are the tiles right here. And if you've ever put together like a shelving system,
exactly,
which you put up the corners, you put it on top.
But much easier than an IKEA shelf.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, folks, that's how it's possible we're able to sit up here right now. And I'm curious, what do the customers think about this?
Of course, I think the customers love the flexibility. You know, it's like Lego, so we can go into an existing facility. We're completely anchorless. We have the option to be anchored, but it's anchorless. So what that means is you don't need to worry about leveling your floor or doing any floor remediation. You don't have to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on that. We have about 2.5 centimeters of wiggle room where we can put in shims to actually level the entire structure. And then from there, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to actually build up the entire structure. It's like Lego, it's that easy. And then the flexibility, right? You tell us you need 1,000 more tiles, we'll ship you some tiles and you just build it up. You need more throughput, we send you more bots, add more stations, and that's it. So the flexibility is, I think, uncompared to any other ASR system that's out there.
Yeah, I would have to agree there. Was that what customers coming up to your booth are typically giving you feedback on?
Yes, they really like the flexibility. So the system itself is high. Again, flexibility is key, and I think that's a concept as a company that we try to follow. So when you look at our AMRs, they're designed to actually drop into place. You can put in the ASRS anywhere. You can scale up, scale down as you need to. And I think that stems from our customer obsession. So we're very, very customer focused. So a lot of our products are actually built around the customer. When you look at our AMRs, they started off as just traditional 2-floor AMRs. And then from there, we've added a weight scale, we've added working stations, we've added pick-to-light, we've built a larger capacity model as well. So I think we'll do the same thing with the ASRS, and I know we will. Customers will give us that feedback, and we'll develop our products and then revamp it based on customer needs, right? We're very, very customer obsessed and customer focused.
Yeah, their motto is literally making robotics accessible for everyone.
Exactly.
And see, that's when I first saw this ASRS, and even your PAMRs, the same type of philosophies throughout all the development is that accessibility, that quick deployment, that easy maintenance, something that's reliable that they can trust.
Exactly.
And anybody from small to mid to large type of customers, they can truly utilize this to their imagination, and literally to their imagination. And I say that because they can actually imagine what to do with it. They know what's going on. Like you said, there's 5 parts to it, and so they can say, oh, okay, where would we put this? They can kind of draw it out in their mind. They can imagine. They can do the math. They can say, we need X amount of bots to do X amount of product. We've got this amount of SKU, so on and so forth. They can. There's no magic box, shape-shifting box in the middle of the floor that they can't touch, afraid to get on, afraid to access, have to call someone. This is something that they can feel very familiar with.
Yeah, and I think the system itself is designed to almost absorb into your warehouse, if that's the best way to explain it. So in that sense, let's say you have an office, we can build on top of your office. You're not using that vertical space. We can build around pillars, we can build around obstacles, we can create pathways. So because it's Lego, they can imagine it themselves, and it's really up to their imagination. There are some structural conditions. So for example, in terms of height, we can only go as tall as our shortest dimension. So if you have something that's 40 by 20 feet tall, we can only go up to 20 feet tall. But there are ways to bypass that where we can put a mezzanine, offload that structural load onto the floor instead of the bottom parts of the structure. So it really is their imagination that is the only limit. So we'll build around it. And again, we're very customer focused. So if we don't support it right now, let us know. We'll try to come up with something. And it makes our products better. You know, we're not trying to, you know, we're in the business of providing productivity, right? So we want to help the customer. We're not going to sell you something that doesn't work. We want you to see the productivity increases, and we just happen to do it with robots.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, back to the accessibility portion.
Yep.
When I try to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to do applications for this? So for here, it's all right. How many elevators do you need? Where do you want to put your pick station at? Where, you know, what location do you want the elevators at? Do you want to go into details of I guess the simplicity of applications? Of course.
So it's very simple when you boil it down. There are, I think, 3 main factors. So everything stems from storage and throughput. But when you look at the throughput portion, you know, we have to get things inside the structure. So when things are coming inside, we do that at a rate of about 240 bins per hour. When you look at the actual pick stations, we present 400 bins an hour, which could be around 200 to 300 lines, depending on how fast the picker is moving. And then the pick station is really designed to actually build e-com orders or each picking. But let's say you don't need that. You don't need to add a pick station. Then we can just do an outbound station, and those also do 240. So it's really simple in terms of solutioning. You tell us how much you want to put inside the structure every hour, how much you want to take out of the structure. You take that number divided by 240, and then you get your number of stations. And then each station has a set number of robots, and then based on that we'll also add in the elevators, and it's really, really simple when you look at it that way.
Yes, and with that said, with applications being that simple, you know, it's not a death sentence when you're like, hey, I'd like to change something.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, you tell us, hey, I need, you know, I'm expecting a peak season, I want to activate these stations. What we can do, a station is just 2 tiles and a monitor. So we can have those installed pre-existing, and then once you have your peak station, we'll just enable that for you. And then you can just go ahead, use it, and then go back to normal. So it's really flexible. You need more storage positions, let us know, we'll send more tiles, more poles. You build up from there.
More bots.
Exactly, more bots. Exactly. Yeah. So it's, again, flexibility. It's just go up and down based on whatever you need. We're, again, very customer oriented.
Speaking of customers, when they came to the booth, what are some major pain points that they're seeing with either the ASR systems they already have, or with maybe some of their products or some of their needs? What are some major pain points that they've shared with you?
Yeah, I think the biggest pain points, again, is kind of reliable labor. So finding reliable people to come in. So, you know, with a system like ours, you can offload that onto the ASRS. Anyone can pick it up really quickly. Our user interface is very intuitive. There's pictures.
Yes.
We have pick to light that'll actually light up the specific quadrant. So anyone can come in and just get running with the system within an hour, I'd say. And that's on the longer end. So it's really quick, really easy to understand, which is something I think we address really well. Another pain point, again, with existing ASRS systems is like floor remediation, right? So again, our system just goes into place. It's anchorless. You just put it in, level the structure, and it's good to go. And then I think also being, you know, the WMS is a big component when you introduce automation. So we offer the ability to be WMS independent. So we have a WMS built into the ASRS, which keeps track of inventory levels. So all, you know, some customers who don't want to spend time doing a whole integration, spend months on that, all they have to do is drag and drop a CSV upload into our system. And then that's it. We'll get the orders, we'll start fulfilling the orders, and we'll send it out. So again, I think flexibility is a huge thing with us. And I'd say there are way more pain points, but I think we do a good job addressing a lot of them.
Yeah, so one of the pain points that I always know is just the fear of breaking something, the fear of not knowing what it is, how it works, or it's just a daunting task to open up an ASRS, to work to be able to pull these like I've worked on stuff where you have to have like a whole crane supporting system in order to lift the things up. I know of a bad story where a very heavy ASRS shuttle fell on a guy. It can be dangerous, it can be scary, it can be confusing. Here, I mean, you can pick up one of these bots and tote them around with your hand.
Exactly.
You can send them out. You can get another one to come in. To me, I feel like the accessibility and the I guess the low barrier for maintenance to maintain and to operate the operators to operate this equipment is just it's a pain point alleviated for a lot of folks, and especially those same folks that are even timid to get into automation or to get an ASRS system to begin with, because there's a lot going on with it, and they feel like they need to hire like a 5D residential maintenance team to look at the thing all day, afraid that it'll break, you know?
Yeah, so I think with our system, it all boils down to basic 5 parts, right? We have the tiles, we have the poles, we have the actual robots, then we have the elevators, and we have the battery exchangers. So those 5 parts are relatively simple. You know, the tiles and the poles are just for storage. And then when you look at the robots, you'll see them moving around. They're very lightweight. They're about 30 pounds. You have your batteries exchangers, which aren't complicated. All they do is they dock up, they'll pull out the battery, put a new one in under a minute. So you don't have to worry about charging them. There's no auto chargers. You don't have to calibrate it with the docking station, nothing like that. Then when you look at the elevators, they just move up and down. They're inside the system, so you don't have to worry about people sticking their hands in. It's just very, very straightforward. And then when you mentioned our maintenance, so I think, you know, the way we do maintenance is there's a fixed fee. It's about $200 per bot, and that covers the entire structure per month. And then what that means is we bake in our site visits. So people will come on site monthly or every 2 months. They'll do any preventative or corrective maintenance that needs to be done. And let's say one of these bots were to go down, you can just go ahead and grab it. You know, they'll automatically head to their recovery position. They'll throw up an error, and then you can just pick it up, put it in a box, ship it to us, and we'll ship you a new one. And all you have to do is place it down, and then it'll map itself. It'll get started. So again, like you said, it's very accessible and very maintenance friendly. So it's really, really straightforward. And then if a tile gets damaged, you don't have to worry about replacing a whole, you know, chunk of steel, for example.
And maybe the wires that would snake through the channels.
Exactly. All you do is pop out a tile and place it back in. It's extremely straightforward.
There you have it. What is the number one thing I think that customers have really came to appreciate when they see this? Maybe folks that are first time seeing this structure, what's some of the comments and feedback they're giving you guys?
I think automatically they go, is it actually plastic? And I have to be like, yes, and then I have to explain why. So again, anchorless, you know, it's flexible, it's like Lego. So that's, I think, very straightforward. But I think the biggest thing is you can start wherever. If you're a small SMB, you know, you're even in a garage or a simple storage application, you can put one of these up, and that saves you time from actually searching for items or, you know, just go and grabbing them. Like, you can keep it very small, and then you also have the option to scale. And it's not like you have to wait months to scale, right? We just add more tiles and add more bots, and it's extremely straightforward. I think that scalability aspect is amazing, and it's something good that we offer.
Fantastic. With that said, I would like to leave the folks, if they don't know, just some of the specifications. You know, they're going to have the questions. So if you can go through some of the common questions like payload, speed, etc.
So these bots are actually running at half speed. So they're about 0.8 meters per second. We can support up to 1.4. So these are just going slowly for the show. In terms of actual payload, they support about 30 kilos or about 66 pounds. In terms of height, there's actually no real limit. It really depends on the conditions of the facility. So we can go as tall as the shortest dimension. So if you have something that's 40 by 20 foot ASRS, we can go about 20 feet tall. But there's ways to bypass that where we can offload the structural load of any higher levels onto the floor with the mezzanine instead. Any other specs, you know, they can run 24/7 with the battery exchanger. The actual battery life of a robot, depending on the usage, is about 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours. We integrate with any WMS, or we can be WMS independent. Again, we have pick stations, we have sewing, we have drop-off. They're very configurable. You just tell us if you want it or not. I think those are the very high-level specs. Derrick, am I missing anything?
No, I did miss one thing, though, I'll admit. The pick station.
Yes.
Let's go over that just a little bit, and a little bit about the elevator. And I think that covers it from A to Z.
Of course. Yeah, so our pick station, I'd like to say, is fairly unique. So we have 2 configurations. We have something called, you know, interior picking. So what that allows us to do is basically we have a U-shaped station on one portion. You can configure this again, but either 4 or 5 bins is allocated towards your SKUs, so your SKU bins. And then on the other hand, you would have your order bins or even your actual like cardboard containers that you want. And then we actually do cartonization. So if you have specific sizes, we can present that specific cardboard box, and then the person can just complete the order into that specific box. So what they will do is the UI is going to prompt them. It'll have a picture of the item, and then the pick to light is actually going to flash. So it'll flash highlighting the specific quadrant of the item that I need to pick, and then it's going to also highlight my drop station or where I need to place the item in the order. So then I'm just going to pick, scan, place, and then I hit confirm. So we have 3 touch points that's validating that if you're picking the correct item. So your mispick rates go down, and your accuracy just goes up drastically. So that's the pick station as a whole. But the second variation that we have is an external pick face. So what that means is we just present the SKU bins, and you can pick directly off onto your, like, let's say a digital assort system or like a pick put wall, or onto a conveyor, and then go from there. So it's extremely straightforward and, again, highly flexible. So that external pick and internal pick. And then the elevators, you know, we have our version 4 coming out. So what those do is they're going to be placed inside the structure, and there's going to be a control box placed on top. And they'll just pull up and down, going through the levels. So the bots themselves will go to the elevators, and then they'll go up, travel around, and then come back down, presenting at the pick stations or drop or inbound stations.
Currently, how many robots per hour can an elevator transport?
Oh, it's about 200. So 150 to 200. Again, it depends on the height and the size of the structure, but it's a pretty good rate. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure seeing this. I was super excited to see this in person. You know, I waited forever. And I've always said it. This is like the greatest tech here in MODEX 26. I think everybody should come here and look at it. I think if you haven't seen it in person, or if they do a demo back in Chicago, right?
Exactly.
So you can do a live demo, and they can show you exactly how it works. You can come to their facility. They're going to have a live facility pretty close by that too. And they would love to show you how it works if you have any questions. But I think the best thing is for folks, if you're watching this, to make sure to follow up, to reach out to Sharu and the team, and you won't regret it.
Awesome. Thanks, Derrick.
Well, cool, man. Thank you for the interview, brother.
Of course.
I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you.